Ariel Helwani in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, alongside Jon Fitch, who meets Erick Silva this Saturday night at UFC 153. And Jon, it is good to see you. It has been a while.
It's been too long.
Too long.
Yeah.
Last time I saw you was December.
And before that, February.
Long stretches.
Yeah,
I was there.
Yeah, very long stretches. I don't like it.
How does it feel to be back?
It feels really good to be back and be healthy and have had a full training camp where I could do everything.
It's interesting because this is one of the few fights on the card that remained intact due to all the injuries.
Yeah, they should have put us at main event. I think we could have carried it.
Was there a chance that you guys would get bumped up if they couldn't find someone like Anderson?
I don't know. It never came up. I never heard anything. I just had my fingers crossed. It would have been nice.
You know, over the last couple of weeks, you've obviously done a lot of press for this fight, and you've talked about how injured you were in the Johnny Hendricks fight. That fight was, what, 10 months ago? Yeah. Why bring that stuff up now?
I mean, I was asked. People want to know all the circumstances and everything that was going into that fight, and that's why I answered. It's not something that I want to take away from Johnny in any way, but you know, it is what it is. I was injured. I wasn't mentally there, but I needed the money, and I did what I had to do for my family.
Why weren't you mentally there?
You know, when you walk into a cage and you haven't prepared properly, you're not going to think about, you know, I need to do this, this, and this. You start thinking about what you can't do. And the whole time from the cage door shutting, I was thinking how bad I wanted to kick, but I can't kick. So the only thing going through my mind was, I can't kick right now. I wish I could kick. I can't kick right now. I think it was a very similar situation to what Kane was going through. You know, he was thinking about wanting to kick against Junior Dos Santos also, but with his injury, he wasn't able to prepare for that, and he's thinking about how his knee is injured and he couldn't do it.
So do you regret taking that fight?
No, I didn't have a choice. If I had to go back in time and do it again, I would have done the exact same thing, knowing the result.
Why didn't you have a choice?
I needed the money. I couldn't afford. I had a pregnant wife at home. I had 2 mortgages. I could not financially afford not to take that fight.
You've also talked about the MMA business and the money that you guys are making, things like that. You seem not maybe as high on it as some other people. Is it tough out there for the UFC fighter in your position?
I think it's tough for everybody right now. The economy is just not doing great, and you know, as fighters, if we're not fighting, we're not getting paid, and because of the financial situation of the country and everything, like, sponsors don't have as much money as they did, you know, 5-10 years ago. So it's harder to get. It's hard to get money from them. It's harder to get appearances. It's harder to get seminars. You know, even the seminar thing usually is a good way to make extra money, but people don't have the money to pay $100 to come to a seminar. Times are kind of tight for everybody.
When you do fight, are you happy with the amount that you make? Yeah,
I'm very happy with what I get paid, but I need to fight at least 3 times a year to make it really worth the damage that I do to my body.
And obviously, your wife had the boy. Everything's going well at home. Mm-hmm. Does that put more pressure on you now as a father fighting in your first fight since the birth?
I wouldn't call it pressure. There's definitely more hunger. I feel a hunger that is even stronger now than when I first started fighting. I think for a little bit I got a little bit too comfortable with my position and being one of the best guys in the world, and I think being where I am right now, I've regained that kind of hunger and drive to get back to the top.
How healthy are you right now?
100%. I don't have anything I can complain about. I don't need anything looked at or taken care of afterwards. So I'm pretty happy with this training camp. It's been the best one, and I don't know, maybe ever.
And obviously you're fighting this guy, a lot of buzz about him, and there's a lot of talk about him here in Brazil, even back home in the United States. He's a rising star in this division. Have you been impressed with him thus far?
You know, he's had some impressive fights, but he hasn't fought very high-level opponents yet. So it's difficult to gauge someone until they fight a top-tier guy.
When this fight was announced, the sentiment was, okay, this is the classic Joe Silva, young star, versus veteran, former contender to build up the young star. Do you feel as though you are being set up here by the UFC?
You know, I asked the UFC a long time ago to give me the toughest guys they could, and Joe Silva always has. My career is riddled with tough guys who don't lose, don't get finished, who've never been heard of by your average fan. So I don't have a problem with that. I got into the sport to challenge myself and push myself, and they've abided to me by giving me these opponents.
You know, a couple of years ago when you were fighting for the title, and we've talked about this a bit, you know, you were sort of that workman-like fighter, gritty, put your hard hat on, blue-collar guy. And now, and I know you somewhat keep your finger on the pulse, there's this sort of, it feels like resentment towards you, that you're just a wrestler. And I know you've talked about you're not a wrestler, you're more of a martial artist than a wrestler because you weren't even that good of a college wrestler. Does that bother you, though?
It's comical to me. I think it's funny. I get a lot of credit for being awesome at something I'm not very good at. It's really funny to me because, you know, I barely was 500 through my collegiate career. I actually had 1 year I won 8 matches and lost 31. That's not a good wrestler. But I'm a good martial artist, and I've gone light years above what anybody ever could have expected me to have done in the sport, and I'm very proud of that. So for somebody to try to criticize what I've done, it's comical to me.
Has this time away allowed you to look at your career, look at what you've done as of late, look at some of the criticism, and made you think that you need to do something a little differently to get the fans back on your side, and maybe even the UFC?
Well, I mean, the sport has developed into what it is, and if you're not selling tickets, you're not getting opportunities, and those opportunities mean cash money. So there are definitely things that need to be done in order to fit into that makeup that's been created. So it doesn't matter what I want from the sport. All that matters is that I get paid for my family. So there are some things that have been changed.
Like what?
The way I train and some of the purpose behind what I've trained for. I don't want to give too much away from my fight, but you know, I've been working on a lot of different things and made some changes.
What's the vibe like at AK? Obviously, you guys were the subject of that reality show, Fight Factory. You know, the cameras are everywhere. A lot of the dirty laundry, if you will, gets aired out. What's the vibe like now at AK?
It's very good. You know, we hit a rough patch with losing Dave Camarillo at the gym, and then Koscheck leaving. But really, we've come together stronger. Dave's here with me for this fight, but I've been working a lot with Leandro Vieira from Checkmat, and he's been helping the team. And the team itself has come together a lot closer, and I think we're a lot better now than we were, you know, a year ago. So we'll continue to keep getting stronger, building our younger fighters, and making some big things happen, I think, in the next year.
Okay, 2 last quick things. You look at Erick Silva. Obviously, he has that 1 loss in the UFC, but everyone kind of considers it a win. You talked about how he hasn't fought anyone at your level. When you look at him right now, what holes do you see in his game?
I mean, inexperience is probably the biggest one. He hasn't been pushed into deep water by someone who can push, and that's something that I'll look to try to exploit and take advantage of.
And obviously, when you fight a fight, I mean, it's always a must-win, right? I mean, you're going in there in a cage, and you have to win the fight for many reasons, and not just you personally, your family, all that stuff. But is this a must-win situation for Jon Fitch, the real kind of must-win? Do you have to win this fight on Saturday night?
It's not just a must-win. It's a must-perform, excellent performance. You know, I don't think even winning is enough for me to really set things going the way I need them to go. You know, I'm really looking for a fight of the night type performance.
Does that mean standing on your feet a little longer than usual?
It means whatever it takes to get the job done. Whatever it takes to push and to get that work done and get that win.
All right, well, great to see you, Jon. Good luck on Saturday night.
Thank you. It's good talking to you.